I get to see a lot of people ask me, which exam should I take? IELTS, TOEFL, CELPIP, or PTE? This question keeps on coming over and over. Should I just sit for CELPIP? Should I take IELTS? Should I take PTE? Should I take TOEFL? Why? Because an average person wants to pass the exam at a sitting. Nobody likes to take the exam over and over, wasting 200,000, 300,000. Each of these exams has different exam fee, and they are quite expensive. All these exams are way above 200,000 naira. So every reasonable person wants to look for the cheapest alternative and clear it at once. So which one is the easiest between IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, and CELPIP? If that's what you want to know, then stay tuned with this video. I will break it down carefully for you. So subscribe to our channel. Don't forget that this is Grace Edu Consult again, and this is Akinwumi Taiwo coming your way, giving you educational information that is verified and genuine. So you are welcome on board with me as I explain this. So which is the simplest? TOEFL, IELTS, CELPIP, or PTE? Now, drawing a blanket, or let me say across the board, none of this exam is easy in quotes to pass. None of this exam is like a walk in the park. None of this exam is easy for you to pass without some measure of discipline, hard work, and intentionality from your part. I need to emphasize this because when students don't understand this, they think probably, oh, this exam is cheap. Let me just go ahead and just do this. I will just pass. Let me just go ahead and just do PTE or probably CELPIP. I will just pass. No. These 4 English proficiency exams require some level of mastery, some level of excellence, some level of hard work, some level of intentionality from you for you to pass it. Without this basic prerequisite, you cannot pass either of this exam. So I want to challenge you first by saying that don't go for one of these exams with the mindset of, oh, I don't have time to prepare, so I am looking for the cheapest. I'm not sure of my stance in English, so I'm looking for the cheapest. If that's what you are looking for, the truth is this: none of this exam is cheap to pass. But as far as technicalities are concerned, as far as hardness is concerned, as far as standard is concerned, and format, there are nuances, there are differences, there are variations. And in this video, I will break that down for us. So let me start with the format, with the focus, and with the use. So for IELTS, that's International English Language Testing System, this exam at the moment is 279,500. So the focus of this exam is to measure practically real-world English skills for everyday scenario. When I say practical, so that means IELTS is the most practical of these 4 exams, as seen in the speaking mode. It is only IELTS speaking mode that you have real-time simulations. You have real-time examiner either talking to you, one-on-one in-person exam, or you have video call examination in which the exam is live and direct. The examiner is live and direct, examining you as a person, not a pre-recorded or a computer stuff. It's live and direct. The examiner is right there, real time. So then the format for the IELTS exam is a center-based exam, face-to-face speaking interview with an examiner. So the format could be paper or CBT. But these other exams, CELPIP, TOEFL, PTE, are only CBT. But you have IELTS in Nigeria for now to be CBT, but in other part of the country, it's paper and CBT. So IELTS too used to be paper and CBT in Nigeria before it's now CBT alone. But in some other climes, you still have IELTS as just CBT and paper. Yeah, but in Nigeria, it's now just only CBT. Then what is IELTS basically for? Is for migration, UK, Canada, Australia, and Europe. And I must say this, IELTS is the most applicable, the most taken of all of these CELTs. What is CELT? Secured English Language Test. All these exams are categorized under CELT, or you call them proficiency exams. So IELTS is the most taken, is the most applicable, it has wider application than the rest of the exams. So what of TOEFL? TOEFL is test of English as a foreign language. So TOEFL in Nigeria now is 250,000, but if you want to pay with your card, with a dollar card, you might be seeing about 182 US dollars for TOEFL. The focus of TOEFL is to emphasize academic English skills, measuring your ability in university environment with academic tests and lectures. So TOEFL is a bit narrowed down to just education, admissions, undergraduate and postgraduate. That's TOEFL, and you have it applicable majorly in the United States. So, and the format is always computer test. There's no paper for TOEFL. What about the PTE? That's the Pearson test of English. These two, it focus on assessing practical English communication skills for both academic and workplace. So unlike TOEFL that is just academic, PTE and IELTS are both academic and workplace. And the format of PTE is computer based with AI-driven scoring, allowing for rapid test turnaround. And this one is best for people who prefer CBT, yeah, and who desire quick results and want to combine speaking and writing tasks in a single session. So that is that for PTE. So this is like the general differences, or let me say the superficial difference. But let me go to the technical differences as an expert, as a consultant that has had close to 5 years of experience under our belt. So let me talk about the technicality as far as Nigeria is concerned. Now, one thing I want to drop here is that firstly, location is one reason that you should consider when you want to take these exams. IELTS is ubiquitous, as it were. You have it in almost every state. You have PTE, probably in Lagos, you have at Ibadan, then Port Harcourt, Abuja, and few other places for PTE. The same thing for CELPIP, but IELTS seems to be widely spread than these other ones. For the price range, they are just minor dichotomy. So for IELTS 279, CELPIP is 145 USD, PT is 150 USD. So just little differences. Now, which one is the cheapest between IELTS, CELPIP, TOEFL, and PTE? Looking at the success rates of candidates in the last 2 years, I want to submit that CELPIP looks cheaper, or CELPIP is a bit cheap, or CELPIP is the cheapest of this for exam, or is the easiest, or maybe I say people pass CELPIP more compared to this other exam. However, we have also experienced cases in which people start with CELPIP, they face CELPIP over and over and could not pass CELPIP, they had to pass IELTS. Now, so that is where we now have a little bit of variations. There are people that their personality and their makeup would suit a particular exam than another. So that means because somebody passes or passed CELPIP at a sitting does not mean that you would have to pass CELPIP. It may be that IELTS format or standard is the one that is applicable to your personality and to your type. So we have seen people fail CELPIP over and over and come to do IELTS and pass. But across the board, I would say CELPIP looks a bit cheap compared to IELTS and TOEFL and PTE. So, but let's narrow it down to the individual module now. So when you come to individual module, the speaking of CELPIP is more complicated than the speaking of IELTS. So that means IELTS speaking is cheaper compared to CELPIP. What about TOEFL? TOEFL or speaking and PTE speaking are harder. But between CELPIP speaking and IELTS speaking still seems simpler compared to every of these exams. But what about reading module? In the reading module for PT reading module and IELTS module is almost competing. But for CELPIP reading module is simpler. Yes. TOEFL reading module is simpler. So IELTS and PTE, their own reading are harder than than that of CELPIP and TOEFL. So that means you may consider TOEFL reading and CELPIP reading to be cheaper. So if you are feeling more of reading in height, then you may want to consider TOEFL if that is an option for you to take, or consider CELPIP if you have it as an option to take, or consider Duolingo as the case may be. So, but when it comes to writing, all of these exams have almost equal level of examination for their writing, almost equal standard. So that means for writing CELPIP, TOEFL, PT, IELTS, their writing module seems to almost be at the same level when it comes to standard. So that means you want to sit off for your writing module, irrespective of if you're writing for CELPIP or writing for IELTS or for TOEFL or for PTE. But what about listening? For the listening module, I'll put it to you that the CELPIP is very simple. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. Then TOEFL listening to is also very simple compared to IELTS and PTE. So CELPIP is the most simple, followed by TOEFL, then let's say IELTS, then lastly PTE. So there's dichotomy when it comes to each of the module as regarding which one is tougher or which one is simpler. And finally, another technical differences there is the past questions. Now, as far as CELPIP is concerned, you may not have so much access to their past questions. So that means if you go online and to just search for CELPIP past questions, as much as CELPIP is simpler, you will not see their past questions readily available for you to just download and use. And more so because it is CBT, you can't even get PDF to practice with. You have to get a software or a website that will simulate the exam for you. And this website might just give you maybe 2 or 3 sample questions to use. So that means you have limited practice, limited free practice for CELPIP. And even that one, you will have to search and search before you get the website that will give you free limited practice for CELPIP. If you need to practice so much, you might need to probably buy their CBT package or their past question package, which would also cost you additional fee to your exam fee. So the same thing applies to PT. To PT will not always be there. When you want to search for the PT past questions now, you will not get as much as possible when you are comparing it to IELTS. But compared to IELTS, you have both the CBT, both the PDF, whatsoever you are looking for as far as IELTS is online. So that means if you want to do self-study, now, see, I am eating something now. If you are thinking of doing self-study regarding these 4 kinds of exam, I would advise you to go for IELTS because of obvious reason that you have a lot of past questions, a lot of materials, a lot of resources free for you to consider when it comes to IELTS. So TOEFL too has limitations. You have to use software, and the softwares, if you don't have access to them, you will not have enough questions to work with. And when you do have access to some free softwares, they will only give you limited questions, after which you may not have access to other package. You may have to pay to unlock those package. But IELTS gives you avalanche of questions to work with. So this is for those people that are considering, oh, I want to do self-practice, I want to do it myself, I want to sit down with YouTube, I want to sit down with my system and pass this exam. I would advise you to go for what? IELTS. So drawing a blanket statement, it would be very difficult to pin down that, okay, this is the easiest, this is the hardest. So you have to judge your decision. You have to base your decision based on all of these premises are listed and given for you. And we at Grace Edu Consult, we are wishing you success in your exam, either it's TOEFL, either it's IELTS, either it's CELPIP, either it's PTE. Don't forget that as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Don't forget that success or failure starts from the mind. So prepare your mind for any of these exams Don't be biased towards anyone. Believe in yourself, and you will see yourself coming out with a flying result. Do have a great day. Bye.